Hi, I'm going to be informing you on the use of phones and how they're not good for you. People nowadays use phones to do basically anything they want. It's such an easy grasp, and it's always at everyone's fingertips. So therefore, they're going to be, they're going to want to use it all the time. Um, People don't really notice the effect it has on them. They rely on it so much to where they don't even really use their mind to think about things anymore. They kind of just, they rely on like asking it questions, looking stuff up, and all that. Um, Aside from that, though, people don't really notice how they can use the phone and how like effectively it could be on your body. It could hurt your neck, affect your brain. The nerves in your neck connecting to your brain can lead you to different emotions, and people feel like they can feel depressed if they're not on their phone. Anxiety, they don't have their phone by their side. They're gonna feel like that emptiness in them, like they have to be having something, like typing something consistently. A lot of the times, people they charge their phones and they can't even stay off of it. They're using their phones while it's charging all the time, and that's something that's not good because, years ago when people used to actually not have phones, you'd be able to think for things by yourself, and you wouldn't have to actually, you wouldn't just look something up and be like, oh, there's an answer. It makes people, lack more common sense nowadays because I feel like people don't use their brains to actually think of things. They just, they have their phones at their fingertips, so why figure stuff out on your own when you could just type it into Google? And people don't notice that. Um, Phones also, they affect social activity. People don't know how to communicate like they used to. When you're in waiting rooms and stuff, no one talks to each other, or like before class, when the professor's not in yet. Back in the day, I'm sure they used to have actual conversations, and nowadays people are just sitting on their phones waiting for the professor to come in. Um, Back in the day, people had to start conversation. There wasn't the way out of the awkwardness. Like if you didn't want to talk to someone or didn't feel comfortable, you just whip your phone out now. Back in the day, you had to make conversation. If not, you're just like gonna sit around and literally not do anything. Um, Kind of like brings you, it gives you no choice other than to communicate with people. It also affects people's lives is everyone's always worried about what's going on next or what's going to happen next or what's going on outside of where they are. You're in your house with your family and you're talking at the table and stuff. People are on their phones when they're not really like noticing what's in front of them. They're not actually living in the moment. They're always worried about what's happening next or something they missed or someone they don't even know who's talking and posting something that's literally irrelevant. Um, People just don't realize like it's kind of pathetic in a way. People can't do without their phones anymore, and it's basically like a drug now. People need their phones on them at all times, and without their phones, they feel the anxiety and depression, and it affects them in a lot of different ways. Everyone's always waiting for that text from somebody. No one picks up the phone and really calls anymore, or actually makes conversation. It's kind of killing. It's killing conversation. It's killing communication in a big way, and people don't realize how much it actually affects us. Now, it does have its good benefits, obviously, like having a phone and all the things it can do is really useful. Um, it's getting to the point now to where it's just kind of too much, and people don't really notice that it's actually making things kind of worse in the long run. It might not be as bad now, but in a few years down the road, it's gonna obviously just keep getting worse. But phones, they're bad, and they obviously have their good benefits, but all in all, they have a big effect on health, and they have a big effect on social activity in the world nowadays.